Hi, I'm Suzanne Morrow, Project Director of the New York Deafblind Collaborative, one of the federally funded grants for children and young adults who are deafblind. Our conversation with you today is focusing on lateral capacity networks, innovation for change in a large state. Coming from a large state as New York, we have to consider the very broad and diverse needs of the population. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the word overview, and under that is the definition of lateral capacity network, which is an initiative that is designed to increase local capacity throughout the state that's through peer-led support and guidance. Lateral capacity refers to deliberate strategies where peers learn from each other across schools, across LEAs, and so on. This is from the work of Fullen and colleagues. So then there are various strategies that help get to successful implementation. One would be focusing on those locations throughout the state of high population density, which Chris will talk about in a minute. The next is obtaining administrative buy-in to making sure that everyone is on the same page and that administrators can understand the benefits of collaborating with our service and how it would impact their providers and the families that they serve. Most critically, relying on natural infrastructures, not only as it relates to fiscal infrastructures and resources that are made available, but also creating those collaborative partners and investing together, both fiscally, but as well as effort, time, and energy to get to the same goals. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Russell, and I'm the project coordinator of the New York Deafblind Collaborative. In the center of your screen now, you see LCN representation and a demographic map showing population density and placement of our 4 main sub-activities under the Lateral Capacity Networks Initiative. On the bottom right of your screen, you see those types of activities listed. The first 3 major activities we have plotted on the map. Those are the Deafblind Advisors, DBA, and Deafblind Parent Advisors of New York, DBPA. The DBA and DBPA are respectively highly trained itinerant teachers and related service providers who have expertise in deafblindness and act as an extension of us in their various locations, as Susie mentioned, in the highest density population areas across the state, and parents of children who are deafblind who act as parent leaders and outreach support in those areas as well. Under that, you see the 4201 and Friends Network. The 4201 schools are state-funded schools for students with visual impairments, state-funded schools for students who are deaf and hard of hearing, and other state-funded schools serving students with multiple disabilities. We've also included the friends of the 4201 schools, who we have invited as other agencies, including the New York State Commission for the Blind and other departments and state-funded agencies providing support to students who may attend those schools. We also have the Network of Teachers Working with Deafblind Students, or NTDB, and that is a statewide community of practice for professionals and educators of various service roles, serving students who are deafblind across the state. As you can see from the map in the center, we have representation for each of those 3 major sub-activities across the regions of the state with the highest population density. Those are the big 5 cities of New York, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and the New York City metropolitan area. Finally, the Interdisciplinary Task Force for Students with Low Instance Disabilities is a long-term initiative that involves state-level representation influencing policy, which we would hope would trickle down to impact practices in schools. In the long term, as we've built up these other major lateral capacity networks, we would hope to achieve representation at the state level through the State Department of Education, the State Department of Health, and other relevant departments.
So lastly, some takeaways from this brief conversation. Up in the right-hand corner, you will see strategies for systemic change. And there are many. However, what research shows us is one of the critical aspects is assessing readiness for change. We need to make sure that our efforts are focused in a way that can be received. We also want to consider having a multi-tiered approach to the provision of technical assistance, while having a top-down and bottom-up approach that happens simultaneously. We also recognize that systems occur at different levels. A system could be a building specific system. It can be at the system level, regional, or state level. Hence the approach of these various TA activities. We also know how important it is to create partnerships across agency types and schools and across age ranges, because we know very importantly that life doesn't end at the end of the school years, that children transition into the world of life. Another takeaway is to think that even though we are focusing specifically on the needs of children and young adults who are deaf-blind, implementation science and these strategies are applicable across ranges and across whatever disability focus you may have. If you'd like further information on our grant, it's located in the bottom right-hand corner and can be found on our website, www.nydeafblind.org. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the conference.